I'm the founder of tennisforthekids.com, and if you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, kindly do it so that you don't miss any of my videos. So without any delay, let's get started. And today we are again with another Java video. In Java, we are gonna do modifiers. Modifiers is also one of the most important concepts in Java, and this modifier is gonna be a lot fun. So without any delay, let's get started. Dab. Okay, so I have a little sample code over here. This is a little sample code that is over here. That we are gonna use for our video. For learning modifiers. So basically, we have a second.java in which we have two final variables, right? And attributes, and then we have a public class second over here, and this code we'll use later, right? And then in main.java we have as class main, where we are creating an object. We are creating an object of our second class, right? And then we are just printing out the variable x attributes value, right? So let's get started. And these modifiers are sectionized into two they are divided into two sections basically. One is access modifiers and the other is non-access modifiers. Access modifiers controls the access level. So basically these access modifiers control the access level, that they control how this how this method, attribute or class will be accessed. And non-access modifier, they do not control the access level, but they provide other functionality. So basically they do not control the access level, but they do provide other functionality. Okay, so first of all we are gonna start with access modifier and for classes. So we are gonna see access modifiers and classes for classes, right? And a first access modifier for classes is public, right? So the public, let's see the definition of public. The class is accessible by any other class. So when we give public in front of class, that class is accessible by any other class. So over here we have given public in front of the class second, and over here in main.java we are able to access that class and make a new object out of it. This is because we have given public, right? And if we run this, this is gonna show us 10, as we are printing the value of x, that is 10. So yeah, it showed us 10, and it showed us 10 because it was public, right? The next is default. For default you don't need to give any modifier. It is basically without the modifier, when you give no modifier. So the class is only accessible by classes in the same package. So when you don't give any access modifier in front of um, the class the classes the class, then that class is basically only accessible by classes in the same package. So this class is now only accessible in the same package, and main.java is in the same package, so second.java will be accessible to it, right? This is used when you don't specify a modifier, like when you don't specify a modifier, I told you, right? And yeah, you must be knowing about packages, right? Very common. Next we'll see access modifiers for attributes, methods and constructors, right? Next we have modifiers for attributes, methods and constructors. Okay, so our first modifier for attributes, or you can say methods and constructors, is public. So our first is public. So for example, so over here, uh, let's see the definition first. The code is accessible for all classes. So if we give public, the code is accessible for all classes, right? So if we create a method, we'll just create a method really quick. Public void, so it will not return anything, and then we'll name this method my name, right? And it will sorry and in this we'll just system dot out dot print line, we'll just print Saion Gupta. Sorry about that. We'll give I've just upgraded to a new keyboard. That's why I'm not used to it. So yeah. So you'll just print out Saion Gupta and system. And now if we call this method, if we remove this statement and call this method, if we call my object to dot dot my name, then it will show Saion because that is a public method and we are using the public modifier over there. So it is showing us Saion Gupta because we gave public in front of it and it was accessible in main.java. We could access it in main.java because we had given public in front of that method, right? We use the public modifier. So that's why we could call it in any for all classes, right? We could call it in any class. So we call it in the different class named main, right? Our second is private. So if we give private in front of a attribute or method or constructor, then what will happen? So if we give private, the code is only accessible within the declared class. So if we give private, we can only call this method in this class only, right? In this second class only, in the declared class only. We can't call that method in any other class. So now if I try to call this method in this main class, it will not work as we can only call my name in this second class as it is private. So error, my name has private access in second, right? So it has only private access in second, that's why we can't call it like that in this class, in main class. We can only call this in the second class, wherever we want in the second class. Let's continue with this. We have done private and now let's see the third modifier, third access modifier for attributes, methods and constructors. So a third access modifier for attributes, methods and constructors is protected, right? So let's see the what we say definition first. So the with the protected modifier, the code is accessible in the same package. So it is accessible in the same package and subclasses. So basically what it's saying that whenever you whenever you give protected in front of a method, attribute or a constructor, this code, this method will be only accessible in our same package, and main.java is in the same package, or in the subclass. Subclass means that in the class, it will be accessible in the class which will inherit from this class. So basically this my name will also be accessible in the class which will inherit from the second class. Okay, so over here main.java is in the same package, that's why we will be able to access our my name method in main.java. So if we just give my obj2 dot dot my name, then it will work as main, the main class is in the same package and we didn't have to give this over here because it is not returning anything. Now this should work. Right, it is working as it is this method, this class and the second class and the main class are in the same package, and as per the definition we can access the protected uh, protected method in the same package or in the subclass. Subclass means the class that inherits from a class. So subclass of second class will be a class that will inherit from the second class. Okay, so my name will be accessible in that subclass also, right? And finally we have default. So with default you don't need to give any modifier. The code is only accessible in the same package. So in the same package only the code will be accessible if it is default, if you don't give anything, right? That is default. So the code will be only accessible uh, uh, in the same package, right? So this my name will the main class is in the same package as the second class. That's why my name, we will be able to call this my name method in the main class because they are in the same package, right? You can see we are getting Saion Gupta, so that is correct. And if you just want to see that this is this is run, fresh run, so I have just given Saion Gupta 1, so we should get the updated version. Yeah, so we are getting Saion Gupta 1. Now we are on the non-access modifiers, and for we'll just see the non-access modifiers for classes first. So um basically for classes there is one non-access modifier, that is final, right? There are basically two access modifiers, but we'll do there's two access modifier non-access modifiers for classes, that is final and abstract. We'll do abstract in a later video because it is a quite a interesting topic that will be covered in a next video quite properly, but we'll just do final right now. So and the final modifier, so let's see the definition. The class cannot be inherited by other classes. So if we give final, before this main class, so if I give final before this main class, so the definition say that I will not be able to inherit any class from this main class. So I will not be able to inherit this second class from the main class. So if I try to class second extends ex extends main, then this will not work. This will not work as the main class has a final modifier before it, right? So it is saying cannot inherit from the final main. So it is saying that it cannot inherit from the final modifier class, as the definition says. It is working like that only, right? We'll do abstract in another video, but our next and now for attributes and methods, and this is for only attributes and methods, we have three that are there: final, static, and abstract. We'll do abstract, we'll cover abstract in a later video, but final and static we'll do right now. So let's just see the definition for final. When we give it before a method or um a um attribute. So if we give final before a method or attribute, so let's see the definition. Attributes and methods cannot be overridden or modified. So if I give, so over here we have a final attribute, okay, and if we try to just modify this value, so if I just go over here and try to do my obj2 dot x equals 20, so if I try to modify the value, what it will do, it will give us an error, as this x is a final attribute and we cannot change final attributes at all. We cannot uh, change their value or override them. So cannot assign a value to final variable x. So it is saying cannot assign the value to final variable x because it is final, that's why it is not allowing it, right? Next is static. Okay, so static attributes and methods belong to the class rather than an object. So static attributes and methods belong to the class. So the static attributes and methods that you get, they belong to the class, right? Rather than an object. So if you just create, you give this you give over here a static variable, sorry, attribute, then this you can access it from the class, right? So if you then over here, if you just do that, system dot out dot print line, and over here in this you give second dot, oh, where am I giving it? And let's just remove this from here. And over here if I give second dot, and we made pi static, second dot pi. So we can access this using the class name, we can access this pi using the class name. So it is bringing us the value 3.14 because we can access it using the class name when it is static. But it has not mentioned, the definition has not mentioned it, but we can access the value of a static attribute using the object also. So if we give the object 2.py, then also this will work, because static variables can be accessed, static attributes can be accessed from both object and the class itself. Okay, so over here I have another example for final. Over here let's just see this example for final. Right, and I'll just move this code in our main.java, right? And then I'll just delete this because now we are doing some juicy stuff. So this is another example for final, where we have two final variables, and over here we have the main method in which we are creating an object of a class, and then we are trying to change x. We are trying to change x's value because like it is final, that's why it will give us an error, because we cannot change fine the value of the attributes that have that are using the final modifier. So we are trying to change it to 50, so it will generate the error. Similarly, the pi attribute is also using the final modifier, that's why if we try to change its value, it will also generate an error, because uh, that error will be cannot assign to a value to the final variable. We can only access them, right, but we cannot change their values. So over here we'll get the error. Yeah, so you see that cannot assign a value to the final variable. So this was a final example. Now we I want to show you another example for a static modifier. So I just want to show it to you. This is the last example that I wanted to show you. This is the static example. So over here we have a static method, that is my static method, and we are printing out static methods can be called without creating objects. Then we have a public method in which we are printing out public methods must be called by creating objects. Then over here in the main method we are calling my static method, so we are calling it on uh, on an object. So we are calling this, sorry, not on the object, with the class only, without the object, without creating the object. So this will work. And then we are creating an object and calling the public method, so this will work. But we cannot call public method over here without an object, that will produce an error. Sorry. So calling the public method without then object will produce an error. So you are saying that a non-static method, my public method, cannot be referred from a static context, right? And then I just wanted to show you that static methods can be also be called by objects, on objects. So we can call static methods on objects also. So you see, we are able to call static methods on objects also. So this was it, guys. Thank you, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. Thank you, guys. Bye. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching my videos. Dab.